Well, for more on this, we're joined now by Deepmala Mahla, who is the Global Humanitarian Director of CARE International. She joins us from Nairobi. Thanks so much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. Now, in that story, we saw some of the impacts on the healthcare system. But can you just explain how widespread the problems are? Because they are right across the country right now, aren't they?
Absolutely, right across the country. So when we talk about Sudan, we are talking about right now the world's largest displacement crisis, and it is a protection crisis as well. Now, given the scale, given it has gone on for almost 2 years now, the health system across the country has come on its knees. So when we say the war has gone on for 2 years, the war has gone on for over 1 million minutes. And why am I counting minutes? Because for those living under the fire, women and children, every single minute without adequate health care is a matter of life and death. And we are seeing and hearing, Tom, about disease outbreaks, measles, cholera. So many children have not received a single vaccine. Pregnant women, lactating women are not able to get any health care because not only the structures are destroyed, also there have been, unfortunately, frequent attacks on aid workers as well as medical professionals. So in its entirety, the healthcare system is not being supported to help this population where 3 out of 5 people, 3 out of 5, how big is that? They are in need of humanitarian assistance. And health is tied along with people's ability to get food, nutritious food, clean water, sanitation. So with all these essential services missing, it's a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions.
Well, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, basically reiterated that point, saying there's been a deeply catastrophic consequences for civilians. So what are people forced to do to try and get their basic medicines and their health needs sorted, as well as just a meal a day?
A meal a day for many people is a luxury. When I was in Sudan a few months back, I was in this place where there were about 400-500 families, and there was a big pot where they were cooking the meal for the day. You know what it had? Only 4 ingredients: bean, little oil, lots of water, and salt. And people are having to, when we say displaced people, it's not once, it's multiple times. I have heard from women, those who cross the border when they are far away from the bombing and violence, they say, and it breaks my heart when I hear stories like this. I remember talking to a group of women and they said, oh, now we have come far. There hasn't been any bombing or bullets. All we hear in the night is the crying of children. And then they pause and say, only those who can still cry. And we are hearing examples, anecdotes of people being forced to marry off their daughters at a much younger age. Women, of course, last to eat, least to eat, even when they are pregnant or they are lactating, because there is complete lack of people's ability to find a livelihood source, a source of income. So people are selling their wares, what they have. And we are also hearing extremely disturbing coping mechanisms which women and families have to adopt to somehow survive. But survive, I heard it from an NGO partner in Sudan, survive is a luxury. And when all this is happening, who do we need critically? We need humanitarian workers. There is no humanitarian work without humanitarian workers by definition. But Sudan right now is the deadliest place for aid workers. And there are no jobs. There are young people who have degrees, who have ideas, who had plans for future. There are no jobs, constant fighting, and they're fleeing. And I've heard it from so many people, Tom, not only in Sudan, but other crises like that. And let me quote, when we flee, if we are able to take our children on our back, we think of ourselves as very lucky. And I remember talking to this another group of women in Sudan, and they were saying that we were running and running and running, and the only possession we had was our babies on our backs tied with thin cloth. And they stopped crying. We were not even sure if the children are alive. Right. Am I carrying my dead baby or is the baby alive? It is absolutely catastrophic. I cannot describe how urgent it is to support humanitarian aid and unfettered medical care.
It really seems like women and children especially are bearing the brunt of that war there that's been going on for 2 years now. Thank you so much. We'll have to leave it there, but we really do appreciate your time and your insight into all of this. Deepmala Mahla, thank you.
Thank you for having me.